Yes, it's me, Alex. I am finally back with a brand new review for you guys. And as you can probably see, and from the title of the video, it's the Pop Culture Shock 1/3 scale classic Mortal Kombat 9 classic Scorpion. Now, I may talk a bit in this review because there's a lot of things to go over, but I've actually written down a few things, so I'm very organised. Limited to 250 pieces. This is the second 1/3 scale Pop Culture Shock actually did, after the Lord of Darkness from Legend, which I also have coming. Let's adjust a little bit. There we go. Originally retailed for $6.99. If you paid up front, it was $595. $595 back in the day. Before Brexit was 380 quid. Now it's around £465, so it's a big difference. Shipping was about £90 or £100, and custom fees came in at 35 quid. Pop Culture Shock use a special customs code, which is for limited edition collectibles, so you only get charged 5% instead of 20%. So the piece cost me around 500 quid. Which for a 1/3 scale, this quality is fantastic. So originally this went up for sale, and I paid in full on this guy in November 2014. I'm recording this review and the day after I got him, which is now the end of May 2017. So the old thing I always say with Pop Culture Shock, hey, you'll have a heck of a wait, but you'll get a decent product at the end. And despite all the shit that has gone on with this piece, I mean, ridiculous amounts of stuff being said about it, it's come out pretty fucking stunningly good. In my opinion, I'm sure people have different opinions. Me, I am super fucking happy with this guy. Let's just get that out of the way. So yeah, let's talk a bit about it. Pop Culture Shock, pretty much known for delays. They delay and delay and delay. They do like to keep the prices down, which they always have in my opinion, but turnaround time has always been 2 years. It's just something people got used to. And then recently there's just been a lot of shit kicked up about it, really over nothing, some bad thing. The Shinakun that I reviewed, there was a lot of the kanjis that were painted on the back, the paint was cracking. There's a lot of shit over that. Jerry did refund anyone who wanted a refund, and there was nothing that could be done about it. They were done in production. There was nothing that could be done. So he offered everyone refunds, and people took it, I guess. And then pictures started coming out of the 1/3 Ninjas, which obviously have been a while. Sub-Zero was actually July 2015, so he's just under 2 years still, and I'm actually getting him next week. But Scorpion's been a long while coming, and apparently it's been down to factories. There's a couple of factories that just weren't up to scratch. Just going to bring that down a bit. That just went up to scratch on making these guys, so Jerry's been moving them from factory to factory. A few problems here and there. The end result, like I say, is fantastic. We'll go over the statue and stuff in a minute. But like I say, a lot of shit kicked up. Basically unwarranted shit, people pretty much treating Pop Culture Shock like, rip-off merchants, like criminals. And, at the end of the day, all that's happened is, the communication isn't great from PCS. It never has been, really. And the long wait times, and there's a few people kicking up a fuss about that. But it all went too far, in my opinion. And Pop Culture Shock, whether it's because of this or whether it was always the plan, but Pop Culture Shock are making changes now. They've brought in more people to manage it. Jerry's actually taking a step back so he can just sculpt and not have to manage the company, giving the customer service a kick up the arse. Website's going to be launched with credit card payments and order tracking, all this stuff, which Pop Culture Shock hasn't had for 10 years. Let's be clear, they haven't had any of this for 10 years, and no one's had a real problem. and it's only been the last few months where it's all just kicked off ridiculously. It's probably all going to be good in the long term because all these changes are going to be made, but the amount of the things that are being thrown around were just petty, not petty, just unwarranted. It's fair enough if you're going to kick up a fuss about long delays and customer service, but just the way some people go about it, just horrible people in this community, which I'm not a fan of. There's a lot of good people in the community, but like most, there's a lot of bad as well. So, bit of a development hell for this guy, and like I say, all these pictures came out saying the head sculpt had changed, the fabric had changed, there's been pictures about it leaning. Let me just say, get straight onto the leaning. Mine is coming perfect. From what I've seen, the leaning issues has been one, maybe two. They've got one got a really bad lean, and I'm pretty much sure that he's had that replaced and refunded. I think he's had a complete replacement, and another one had a slight lean. I don't know how he got on. Jerry said there was about 3% that had got a slight lean. They were sculpted with a slight lean, but the ones that they caught said that it was a production issue. It isn't the fact that no statue leans within a week of it being released. It's a thing that happens over time. That was a factory production mistake, really. The other leaning where they haven't been assembled right, so hopefully we'll have no more leaning. So all that being said, let's talk about Scorpion. Now, 1-3 wasn't really. I think there's a couple of 1-3s, some Blitzway like the Bruce Lees and things like that. I think Prime wanted maybe put up their Arkham Knight stuff for pre-order. I don't think any, maybe gone up for pre-order, maybe it was after Scorpion, I can't really remember, but 1-3 scale was like, whoa, 1-3 scale, and Jerry was doing it at such a good price, like $700 at that point, was an amazing price, and it still is really. So he put this up as kind of an experiment. He limited it to 250, which seems like nothing now. And it sold out within, I think it was like 10, 11 minutes. I was one of the lucky few that got one straight away. As soon as I saw this, I was like, yes. This is the sort of thing. When I wanted a classic Scorpion, this is what I wanted from the 1-4 scale line. So I paid up full, like I say, and left it at that. Now, over the time, all these things had happened, and things came out about the fabric being different, which now it's in hand, it's probably a little different. It's not super different. I actually prefer the look of this one. The one on the Proto had like a fluffy feel. This looks more like what was in the game, more of a cleaner, crisper look to it. People were talking about the head shape. I actually think the head shape looks better on this. The other one did look a lot rounder. If you like a round head, that's fine. I think this one looks more in proportion. It just looks more like a head. Obviously, there's a lot of pictures coming out where people had taken him straight out of the box and just put him on display and said, "Oh my God, the clothes are terrible, blah blah blah." But they hadn't really, when you get this guy, he's been sitting in a foam box for months, so his clothes are ruffled. The back of the trousers on mine are still a little creased up, and do need a little work. But there's plenty of. You can do a lot with the fabric on this guy. The belt actually unclasps it there, just via Velcro, and all the top comes off. The trousers can be pulled down to be baggy, they can be pulled up to be less baggy, however you want it. The whole tabard comes off over the top. The mask on the face can be altered. It's got a piece of wire in it, so you can mess with that. I'll get close up to the face afterwards. So a lot of discussion on this over the Proto versus production. For some reason, it's suddenly become the norm to get 100% Proto when that's never been the fact. Not even XM do 100% Proto, in my opinion. I've had a few XM pieces and I've still got a few. Something even like as great as the fucking Darkness is, one of the best pieces in my collection, it's still got problems. It's still not exactly the same as it was on the Proto. There's still pieces that weren't painted anywhere near as good. But for some reason, there's just been this overflowing negativity about PCs not being 100% proto. I'm going to say, I think most people leak for about, from what I've heard in the community, people are leaking like 80-85%. I think this is 95% there. I honestly do. I think it's 95% the same as proto. And I think, like I say, I do think the fabric changes are better. I've never seen the proto, but I've seen pictures of it, obviously. But I don't think this is, people were calling this, saying that this is like one of the worst fucking statues ever made. And I'm like, are we looking at, has Jerry sent me something completely different? Because I think it's absolutely stunning. I'd put it next to my Darkness, my Infinity Shield Zalion, my 1-3 Akuma. I think it's just as good. As a big Mortal Kombat fan, this is what I've been waiting for a long time. Just go over the outfits. Yes, a lot of people saying that this is MK1, MK2. It's neither of those. It's actually a classic costume from MK9, which was supposed to be Mortal Kombat 1, but because of the padding and the quilted texture on the fabric, it's more like Mortal Kombat 2. So it's kind of a hybrid. It's not MK1, it's not MK2, it's the MK9 Classic. So I think a lot of people are saying, well, it's not like this in Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah, it's not supposed to look like Mortal Kombat 1 or 2. Another thing that added to the overall, I don't know if I wouldn't call it disappointment, because I've got a feeling a lot of people sold this before they've even seen it in hand. And it was one of those statues that everyone jumped on the hype train. This statue was too hype for its own good. I've seen people who have no interest in Mortal Kombat buying this thing and paying, it's a $700 pre-order, $595 on full payment, and people were transferring this, because popcultureshock allowed you to transfer orders, for around anywhere between $1,000 and $1,500, which is ridiculous for a pre-order, because no matter how good a company is, you never know what it's going to come out like. And as soon as pictures started dropping, people were selling it so fast, and obviously the delays added to that. But I think there will be a few people kicking themselves, because I think in hand, there's definitely nothing wrong with it, as far as I can say. I'm over the moon with it, and I will put it up against any of my other higher, bigger, more beautiful statues. I think it's just as good. So let's go into a bit on the actual statue. Enough about that. That's 12 minutes. I haven't even really talked about the statue. Like I say, so it's all mixed media, apart from the shin pads there, sculpt, but the backs, the strapping that goes around the back of the legs and the back of the hands is actual real leather strapping. Well, not leather, but like a pleather strapping. So lots of mixed media. Trousers are mixed media, tabard belt, head, mask. The chain is real metal, so it's a real chain. And then the spear on the end is actually polystone. A lot of people confused about that, but no, the spear is actually polystone. To cast that in metal would just, be ridiculous. So I can totally understand why they decided to go with just polystone. Down to the base. Actually, not many people have commented on this, but I think the base is probably the weakest part. It's just, you've got all the skeletal details and stuff on here, but around the edges. So we've got bones and skull faces. Quite simple, it's very much a museum piece. And then on top, we've got this clear resin lava effect and this, just stonework like he's standing on lava. Mr. Polystyrene's interfering. The base isn't ultra, it's super effective though, and mostly because of, if I can find the button, that. It's a rather stonkingly good light up effect. No batteries, cord only, so that's great for me because I'll just leave them plugged in and have him turn on when all the rest of my lights turn on from the cabinets. Lit up, it looks fantastic. But, it is quite a basic base. I'm surprised more people haven't spoken about it. It is pretty hollow. It's got lights in it, so it's going to be hollow, but it's definitely solid. It's got no problem holding the weight of the statue. So, I really wouldn't worry. like I say, plain base does its job. I actually think Sub-Zero's base is going to be a lot more interesting. I really like the look of Sub-Zero's and Reptiles as well. Reptiles is very similar, but it's got a bit more detail to it. I think he kept this quite... I think the paints could have been a lot better on the base, actually, because it is just one grey wash all over it. Like I say, a lot of focus has been on the figure, the negatives on the figure, but I think the base is probably the worst part. I think the figure's fucking fantastic. So coming up, let's get up to them arms. I'm going to stand up, because he is a big guy. He's like 30 inches tall. So musculature, usual popcultureshock standard, extremely well sculpted, well painted, vein detail. I mean, we're under pretty bright lights here. I'm going to knock a light off. There we go, that's probably a bit better. Fingernail details, fantastic. We've got blood splatter all over. If you do get it from popcultureshock, they will QC it. They will add extra blood if needed. That was one of the things they did. We've got like dirt, like sulphur, like, you know, because he's from the fires of hell. So we have got those sort of details on the arms. Like I say, these straps here are leatherette. That's like polystyrene. I mean, the yellow on camera looks like piss yellow, but actually in hand it's like a deep, rich yellow. I took a load of pictures earlier today, and pictures came out fantastic of it. If you find my Instagram, there's pictures on there. Let's go on to the heads. So I'm going to take that one off, because he does come with an extra head. We will go over the ninja head. This is the skull head. Really well done. Jerry loves sculpting a skull. Same as Randy Bone in that regard. Now the eyes, just like sunken holes, but we place him on. The light's still on the base, mind you. We get this sucker in. There we go. And we get this awesome light feature in the eyes, which is one of my favourite light ups. I've got to say, the effect on the eyes is brilliant. They're a little pink on camera, but in hand they're definitely red. I'm just going to do the base. See, the base is so well done, really bright. So the skull head is total win for me. I honestly thought I would only display the ninja head. That was the plan. I'll probably keep the skull head out, like I do with most of my pieces. Any pieces I don't use go straight back in the box and up the loft. And then I've got a shelf where I put all my extra pieces that I like to swap out. So like my Deadpool head's on there, because I really like swapping on the Deadpool head. The weapons on Zhao Yun, fantastic. And I think Scorpion will be there as well, because I think the skull head is fantastic. It's really, really cool. I think it actually looks really, really good on the statue. I thought the skull might look a little small, but it doesn't. In hand, this statue is one of those statues you need to see in hand, because just the size and the proportions work so much better in hand than they do on camera for some reason. So here's the head that everyone's complaining about. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah, well it is. The eyes are done really well. Let's just see if we can get this. Eyes are done really well. No problems with the paint. The mask, like I say, has a little piece of metal that runs across the top there. Can be adjusted to however you want it. It's a tough job to get these creases out, but I'll probably have another go at it. But nothing wrong with the head. Now the hood can be pulled and adjust it to how you want. So you can have it close over his face, you can pull it back, you can pull that bit down, you can push it up, you can pull the mask up, you can pull it, you know, you can do a lot with the head to get it to the shape how you want it. I mean, that's it really, guys. I've got no complaints. Like I say, I do think that the base is the worst part. But even that with the light on looks fantastic. I think if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, there's no way you've cancelled this anyway. I think if you were jumping on the bandwagon and you kind of wanted to do the 1-3 Mortal Kombat thing, you might regret selling this if you have sold it, because 1, it's Scorpion, 2, it's the first piece in the line, 3, there's only 250 of these, whereas 350 of Reptile and Sub-Zero. I think there could be a lot of people who regret it. I do think the value will jump straight back up on it. I really do. Yeah. You know, I'm so glad I've kept my... But there's no, to be honest with me, there was no question about me keeping this. I was having this in hand. If I've waited 2.5 years and I wanted it, I know there's a lot of people who flip out there, but there was no way I was not going to have this in hand first. You know, there's other pieces I've had in hand and thought, yeah, I'm okay with letting that go, but no way am I letting this go. Not now. I'll never say never, because other pieces are always coming out. It's like I always said, I'd never sell my Sume stuff, and now Prime only doing Gaiva. So, you know, a few of them pieces will have to go. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, 1-3 Mortal Kombat, this is the beginning of something beautiful. popcultureshock have done, like I say, Sub-Zero and Reptile, which Sub-Zero's should be here next week. He's shipped. Reptile later in the year, and then MKX Molina and MK9 Katana. They've also done 1-3, and then MKX Goro, which looks ridiculously large. I haven't got Molina, Katana, or Goro on order. I'm trying to gauge what I'm going to go for. Molina and Katana are pretty easy to get hold of still. Goro, there's only 150 of that. I'm not a huge Goro fan, but I would not mind Molina and Katana, especially if they're going to be as nice as Scorpion is. But there you go, guys. Quick over, well, not quick, 22 minutes now, but just a few final thoughts. Yeah, I just think the whole popcultureshock thing has been blown out of total proportion. Hopefully they're going to get back on track now. But as far as I'm concerned, the stuff that they're putting out is still as good as it ever was. I've got no complaints with the items that they're putting out. Hopefully Sub-Zero is as good as this guy is, I've no doubt. And, you know, stuff like the Castle Wolf from American Werewolf, the Wolf from the Howling, Lord of Darkness and 1-3, that's a huge 40-inch statue. It's going to be amazing to witness that. You know, I'm really, really hoping that, yeah, popcultureshock probably will pull through. They've already pulled through in my eyes. You know, all this stuff that they're setting up now. They've just launched a Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook, jump on the Facebook group and check them out. I've been posting a few pickies up there myself, and lots of other people showing off amazing Street Fighter collections. You know, a lot said about the Street Fighter statues from popcultureshock, you know, and some go for ridiculous money, but when you see a collection of all of them, it's, you know, it's really stunning. Same with the Mortal Kombat stuff, the classic MK9, MKX. Well, I say MKX when it comes out. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, you know, it was a hiccup for popcultureshock, and a little bump in the road, and I think we're going to go smooth into the future. So there you go, guys. 1-3 scale, popcultureshock, Scorpion, MK9 Classic statue. If you can get your hands on one, and people are still panic selling, and you want one, and you can pick him up for retail or thereabouts, get him. Just get him. That's all I can say. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching.